Why don't we really shoot nuclear waste into space? If you're watching this video, chances are you've seen the Kurzgesagt take on that topic. Here they tell you that launching a rocket full of nuclear waste into space is a bad idea. I mean, duh. But there's also a chance that after seeing that video, you have the same pulsating question in your mind. Why do that have to be rockets in the first place? Is that the only thing that can shoot stuff into space? My name is Pavel, and in this video we're gonna talk about non-rocket space delivery and whether it's possible to use nuclear bomb to get rid of nuclear waste. Alright, we probably don't need to shoot nuclear waste into space at all. The topic has been thoroughly, and I mean thoroughly, researched. I'll give you a brief 101. So there's around 10,000 tons of high-level nuclear waste, aka spent fuel, produced by reactors worldwide annually. Another 500,000 tons is already produced and sitting in storage around the world. The spent nuclear fuel consists of uranium, a tiny bit of plutonium, that would be 96% of the total mass, and the rest is a vicious mix of highly radioactive elements and isotopes. Listing them would take me the rest of this video. The catch is that all of that uranium and plutonium is proposed to be recycled by startups like Oklo. So all of that nuclear waste has always been recyclable and it's been sloshing there in casks all that time? Bonkers, right? Anyway, you can watch Clear's video about that in detail, but you probably already have. So that means we have 500 tons of nuclear waste annually for us to shoot into space? Well, the rest is supposed to be much cheaper to just store, especially since the storage time for that 4%, the fission products, is much shorter. The most stubborn elements in that mix are strontium and cesium, and with a half-life period of 30 years, after 300 years they are no more radioactive than my laundry bin. Okay, I get it, we don't have to shoot nuclear waste into space, but we are on a silly little personal channel, so let's just roll with it. Obviously, all the points in Kurzgesagt video are completely valid. The rockets aren't cheap, they sometimes do blow up, and we'd have to additionally inflate Elon Musk's ego. And we can't afford that. I mean, look at that thing, it's just gonna blow up harder than any fucking rocket with weapon-grade plutonium in its cargo compartment. But why do that have to be rockets? Can't we just use some kind of a space lift or a similar technology? I mean, we don't have a working space lift yet, but we're gonna have one in the future, right? Maybe even sooner than in 300 years. So let's just entertain this idea. So initial thought in my head was, build a huge coiling gun underground. A gun which works via magnetic propulsion, achieved by a series of electric coils turning on and off. A coil gun. A coiling coil gun. This script is not doing well. Europe already built a large hadron collider, so the expertise of building something huge underground is already there. Make it point to the heavens and to infinity and beyond. Instead of a huge rocket, you can shoot small packages, just more frequently. Taking out 10 kilograms every 10 minutes in a year gives you the desired 500 tons. Build a copy of the facility and your workers can have normal shifts. Given that it would be powered by electricity and its cost is sometimes negative with all those renewables in Europe and, you guessed it, with more nuclear energy, you can achieve neatly scheduled launches of something akin to artillery shells. Sounds cool, right? But first, let's clear up one crucial question. Where exactly do we shoot? Nicely said. I'm just gonna put this number here and pay attention to it. It's a very important one. We can't really shoot nuclear waste into orbit. Anyone with a physics education of a 5th grader can understand why. And technically we cannot deliver nuclear waste to the orbit that way without packing up some fuel for horizontal acceleration, which means defeating our neat design of an artillery shell. We can't shoot it randomly into the outside space because it's just gonna come back due to the orbits. you know, what goes around comes around. We'd ideally not want to shoot it outside the solar system. I mean, if we still cherish the idea of coming into contact with alien life, it's better not happen because we accidentally bombed their planet with radioactive shit. Which means the only thing that is left is shooting it into the sun. You see that number? It's the speed with which the honking lump of fission products has to be launched into space to pass the Earth's atmosphere, cancel out orbiting moment inherited from the Earth, and land into that precious orb of plasma, which would totally be cool with it. At least for another 600 million years. Then it wouldn't be so cool. It's 85 times the speed of sound in that same atmosphere. First, the coiling design of that shit is going out the window. The turns are not quite possible at that speed, are they? Then there's the temperature. The stagnation temperature, the temperature at the nose of the shell, will be this. You know what the fuck those numbers are? Me neither. But for the reference, the Yankees had this series of experiments back in the late 50s called Operation Plum Bob. In one of those experiments, they welded a 900 kilogram, 10 centimeter thick steel plate above an underground shaft. And then in that shaft, they've detonated a nuclear bomb. Man, I love America. Naturally, the steel plate was launched upward, and their best attempt at estimating its speed was 66 kilometers per second. There was a camera pointed at the steel plate, shooting 1 frame per millisecond. The lid appeared in that camera only in 1 frame. Now the big brain idea: put the barrel of nuclear waste on top of that lid and they will be launched into space together. Problem solved. Don't listen to that man. He's stupid. The consensus in the original experiment was that the lid has been fully vaporized in the atmosphere due to the friction and extreme temperatures. Now 30 kilometers per second is not the same as 66 kilometers per second, but that doesn't make any serious difference. The friction in that dense atmosphere will still do its ultraviolence to the projectile. Now we can't possibly think vaporizing fission products in our own atmosphere is a great idea. Even if we add ablation material that is supposed to burn away, encase it in steel, lead, tungsten, phenolic impregnated carbon ablator, it's still not gonna work, and besides it's gonna increase the cost of the projectile significantly. So here goes this idea into a bin of stupid, worthless ideas. Too bad. I like nuclear waste go. But we are not done yet. From this point, the most logical idea is to decrease the thickness of our atmosphere so that it doesn't burn our projectile. We can further progress with this goal by destroying our environment. But it's just gonna take a while, so let's build, I don't know, a ramp. So the Star Tram project was first proposed in 2001. The basics are: take a maglev train, construct a 22 kilometers high vacuum tube ramp on top of a mountain, tether it to the Earth by cables, and voila! You can send trains into space. Finally, the concept of space travel atom something will drool all over. But we are not even talking about space travel here. Sending people to space? Boring! We're just gonna shoot a lump of spent fuel on that thing. We don't care about being gentle at all. So obviously, the requirements for the size and reliability of the track are gonna be far less demanding. I mean, what's the worst that can happen, right? Meteor shower of radioactive pellets? What's so bad about people finally getting superpowers from radioactive meteorites? Now, the 30 kilometers head start doesn't improve the situation with the speed much. And it actually doesn't improve the situation with temperatures either. So why bother? Well, at this altitude, there's 67 times less atmosphere. And being concentrated on the pointy top of the projectile, there's actually a chance that the ablative material can survive the heat. Okay, I have to confess at this point. Yes, I've used Claude to calculate some of those numbers. But do you seriously expect me to understand industrial or even military-grade physics, or be able to pay to someone on the side? Or get into that myself like some fucking Tony Stark while working a day job? I can barely call myself an engineer, have mercy. The economic viability of the StarTram track itself, that 22 kilometers megastructure, well, the authors of the project estimate its cost at $19 billion. It's about 10 to 12 football stadiums. However, even though I can barely call myself an engineer, I know all too well how different the reality can be from even the most rigorous planning. And especially with something that has never been tried before. But we can dream, can't we? And however silly the idea is to build the tallest structure on Earth, utilizing the most novel principles of physics and engineering, all that just to get rid of our trash? Wait, bingo! We can also shoot non-recyclable plastic there. That's a great idea, I need to write this down. The next shot. Here we are. But seriously, just add some engine and some fuel to the projectile, make it possible for it to swerve, and now you got yourself a pretty cheap means to send useful cargo to Moon or Mars or anywhere really. And you wouldn't need 29 kilometers per second speed for that as well. Make the track longer at the bottom and the cargo can actually survive the acceleration. The authors of the StarTram estimated the launch cost at $43 per kilogram. Pretty neat compared to $10,000 to $25,000 for sending the same amount on a rocket, and that excluding the risks of the rocket travel. However, the project is pretty much dead. Everyone is salivating around SpaceX and rocket go brrr. So the chances are, in 20 years, the tallest structure on Earth will be Jeddah Tower. That if they actually build that thing. And if you exclude the temporary structures. Now, I also wanted to include Lofstrom Loop, but for the purpose of this video, the idea there is pretty similar. Get the vacuum tube at the altitude where no atmosphere can interfere with the payload, hurtling through space at insane speeds, and then, yeah, you're good. The only thing I can say is that this concept is pretty much the closest to the space lift that we all know and love from science fiction. And actually also that the cost per kilogram estimated by the authors is $3. $3! If you want to know more about this idea, you can check this video. So what's the conclusion? At $43 per kilogram, or in case of Lofstrom Loop $3 per kilogram, shooting harmful, non-recyclable waste into space or even into the sun starts to seem like something worthwhile. And this is not even the main purpose of these projects. The main purpose is space travel, remember? But maybe shooting 500 tons of nuclear waste per year can be a stepping stone for them. Now you can call me an idiot in the comments. But for me, making this video was a nice exercise. Now I certainly know more about launch loops and non-rocket space delivery. I hope you had a good time too. And now I'm gonna wait until Michael Reeves builds this shit for a YouTube video. And I'm out. So the name of the channel is Way of the River. And the reason for it is, well, there's no specific reason. It's just an abstract enough name for me to not restrict me in the choice of my videos. But then I also thought that a river is a pretty nice metaphor for pretty much everything. How something small grows large with time and distance. How you put your effort into something, or you put your effort against something. It's just a really nice metaphor. Maybe it doesn't fit that well to shooting nuclear waste into space though. But you get my meaning. So my point is, if you find this concept interesting, please like and subscribe. It will keep me motivated to make more videos and put my soul into them. And then we will see each other on the waves of the algorithm. And we'd have to additionally inflate Elon Musk's ego. And we can't afford that. I mean, look at that thing. It's just gonna blow up harder than that. Can you shut the fuck up? What is this?